I'm Eric, and I'm the videographer for Pixel Remedy, and I'm here to bring you a very special unboxing here in our studio. We are finally replacing our Canon 60D with a Panasonic GH5. We are finally going 4K. It's about time too. The Canon 60D has been a wonderful camera. Unfortunately though, it has not exactly given us the kind of quality that, well, I want, and it really was designed to be a photo camera, not a video camera like the Panasonic GH5. So, as you would imagine, it has taken me a couple of months to figure out which kind of camera that I wanted to get. I didn't get this camera specifically for the channel, I got it for other uses, but with this camera, you don't actually get a lens, you only get the body. And so I decided to pick up a zoom lens, and that would be the 12 to 35 at f2.8. Highly rated, and I can't wait to see what kind of pictures I can get with it. And soon we will be retiring the Canon 60D, which is what you're watching right now. So without further ado, let's go ahead and crack this open. So we'll go ahead and open the camera first. So there actually is no tape on this, which I think is interesting. Most other camera bodies usually do have tape on the packaging. Just open it up. And in the Panasonic fashion, just like the GH4, you have your manuals and other bits of information. Always read your manual. I mean, honestly, some people have so many problems with their cameras because they don't read the manual. This thing is thick. It's thick for a reason. Read it. Going inside the box some more, and we get into the good stuff. So, got your camera strap. Won't ever use that. It just gets in the way. Here's the camera itself. We'll kind of set that aside for a second. And have our goodies. We got the power cable for our charger. We have the, this is a USB Type-C to USB 3.0. Very, well, it's the same thing. It's just the connector is a USB-C for transferring your photos or video, most likely. Here's a, I'm not quite sure what this is. It looks like, oh, this might be a holder for the HDMI cable. I'll have to investigate that. Here is the charger for the Panasonic batteries. Now, actually, one of the reasons I didn't get the Sony a7S Mark II, which, by the way, is the other camera I was planning on getting, but because of the battery life, I mean, look at these batteries. The Panasonic batteries are gigantic. They're way bigger, and they store more. So I can actually get a whole day of shooting on just one of these. The Sony, which I did rent just on a particular gig, it took like at least 2 batteries for me to do maybe half a day. Not even, yeah, it wasn't that great. And these batteries are fantastic. And Panasonic used the same exact batteries as the GH4, so that's a big plus if you happen to have a GH4 or I think a GH3. I'm not quite sure. Don't quote me on that, but I think the GH4 batteries for sure work with the GH5, which is great if you already have a GH4. And that looks like that is all that's in this box. So let's move on. So we'll just leave this here. Oh, and here's the camera. We'll leave that for last. Let's get the lens out of its packaging. Lens packaging doesn't normally have a whole lot in it. Here is your manual. You know, just put it on the camera. Very simple. And we get a lens hood. Very handy to have these. Keeps lens flares, unwanted lens flares out. Sometimes you do want them. I know I do. I do like new lens flares. And the carry bag, pretty nice. And underneath here is the lens itself. So micro Four Thirds is quite small, but the lenses, not so much. But I do like the micro Four Thirds format because of just how lightweight it is and how, I mean, this lens has some weight to it, which is really nice. So it's not going to be easy to break, I suppose. Now, this particular lens is actually the Mark II version of this, which comes with the better image stabilization that the Panasonic GH5 has. And so if you're interested, really that's kind of the big difference between these two lenses. If you're in the market for one of these, the older version doesn't have the better stabilization, and if you want more information about that, basically Panasonic's stabilization system is far superior than any other stabilization I've seen before. Basically the sensor and the lens move with each other, and it's an amazing system. But that's pretty much kind of the big difference between the Mark II of this lens and the older one. So if you don't care about that, you can get the older one and get it at a reduced price. But yeah, this is really nice. It doesn't feel cheap. I mean, this outer area feels kind of plasticky, but I would imagine that it's some probably aluminum or something. And ooh, this feels nice. It just feels well made already, and I haven't even used it yet. I'm excited. Yeah, it's seems like a very high quality GH product. So here's the camera itself. Very nice. This is the first time I'm seeing this, by the way, and I'm really excited. So here's the back. So in comparison with the GH4, which is what I've been using at my job, this body is way bigger. It also is a little more weighty. They got rid of the flash in the front of it because, I mean, you can take pictures with this, but this isn't the primary purpose. This particular camera is made specifically for video, which is why it's so popular amongst videographers. The only thing that we don't like, at least for me, and one of the main reasons why I was going for the Sony was because of the full frame sensor. As you can see, micro Four Thirds is tiny, and of course the caveats for having a micro Four Thirds is that you don't get as good depth of field, or bokeh as they call it, whatever, it's the blurriness behind you, and you don't get good dynamic range. Now, since I'm not planning on doing a lot of filmmaking with this, it doesn't bother me too much, but I mean, sure, the depth of field is kind of a killer for me, for a while anyway, but after I rented this camera and got a particular 85mm lens on it, which actually is equivalent to about 46mm in micro Four Thirds, I was able to get some really good depth of field using that. So I will be purchasing that kind of lens later. So this is it. This is everything you get inside this box, and this is everything you get inside the lens. So to end this off, I wanted to show off the very first camera that I ever had and ever used for Pixel Remedy, or DS Michael as the channel used to be called, and that was this guy. The Canon Vixia HF-S20. And actually very good for a 1080p camera. But now we're going into glorious 4K, and I cannot wait to show you guys what this camera can do. We have a couple videos lined up that are actually using this. Since I did rent this camera, I did take the liberty of taking a couple of projects with it. So the next project that you guys see will be on this camera in glorious 4K. So this is the very last video that the Canon 60D will be recording.